Welcome to the Generosity Roundtable. This is a series exploring the nonprofit sector's first tabletop role-playing experience, specifically designed for leaders, board members, and their communities. We are able to address different problems, obstacles in as little as 20 minutes. And a big part of that is because people are building a character around the scenario that they're going to explore with other people sitting at the table. So I have been dressing up and doing things, and that's fun, but the reality is that I'm much more excited to spotlight actual gameplay. So we're going to do a very quick overview of what Julia Campbell supplied for her character, because I think there's a lot of interesting tidbits in how she approached it, right? Kind of the basics here are all you need to do is look at a card and read about your archetype. That's going to be the primary archetype section. You don't need a character sheet if you want to play the game. You could literally just read something and reflect on the question, who does this remind you of? That's it. But Julia was like, I want to really get into it. I, feel like I need to take this fully seriously and, write everything out. That was her interpretation of it, because when we also look at what Ben Williams did last week, he kind of knew and he wanted to roll with it. He didn't have a character sheet really kind of detailed like this. So different people learn and process information in different ways. So for you folks that are like, I need to prepare, this is good. This is for you. So Julia did generally play a version of herself. She is a mom, but she doesn't live in Cohoes, New York, right? She's not a member of our local community, but she understands the types of things that are being discussed there. So it was interesting that she even wrote in that blank space, like head of a local moms club, right? Like she started from an identity standpoint, making a group connection, right? A lot of the ways that we think about philanthropic psychology, people organize it around the relationships that they have, the kind of social groups that they align themselves with. So a mom's club is a really great example. She took the quiz that we have, the Generosity Archetype quiz, and so she settled on the connector archetype. So flashing that right here for people to kind of remind themselves what exactly is that card. And then one of the things that I'm going to follow up later this week on is how to drill into these more deeper, nerdier areas, like the green flags and the connections and the quirks. And I'm really excited about how I'm going to do that. But for all intents and purposes, this is just to give somebody a little bit of extra flavor. You might even, think of it like getting into character, right? Like, what's my motivation? Ask yourself that when you're playing the game. How do you want to react to things? How do you want to, if presented with a specific situation, know, okay, if I hear these types of words, right? Like when Julia was playing the game, and she saw certain things that resonated with her when it came to the storytelling that the Connect Center does. That was a good thing. That was a green flag versus maybe some research that was done beforehand on stuff that was lacking. She actually did flag that in the game in terms of what she hoped to see on the website, because she knew coming in, we're going to talk about recurring giving, and a big practical, tactical thing there is the website. So connection to the cause, right? It just kind of helps give context for the gameplay. And then the quirks are just a little bit of kind of how she wanted to interpret that. I've seen other gameplay cards where they were a lot more silly or things like that. So this is just a high level overview of one particular game card. I'm very excited about the direction that we're going to be taking, how people can kind of create portable, potable versions of this. And just want to give a quick overview of a real gameplay. So let me know in the comments any questions you have or thoughts that you have on how this might apply to your work. I actually plan on kind of drilling into each of these sections in a little bit more detail in subsequent videos.